Hey Top Centers, I'm Writer Joey, and today we're going to be looking at a few of the cards revealed in a Japanese commercial for the set Wild Blaze. Now, I'm only actually going to pick a couple of cards from the actual advert because, well, not all of them are absolutely game-breaking and or garnered any real attention. Now, I'm just going to focus on the three key cards that I've noticed that people have actually taken some kind of interest in, and you'll see why when I get there. So let's start off with the first of our three cards, Kangaskhan X. Kangaskhan X is a 180 hit point basic colourless Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 and 2 attacks. The first attack is for 1 colourless, you can use triple draw. Draw 3 cards. It's that simple. The effect is pretty much in the name. Kangaskhan's second attack, for 3 colourless, you can use a currently unnamed attack to do 70 damage. You flip a coin, if heads, you do an extra 30 damage. So, triple colourless for a coin toss 100. It's not like game breaking, it's not the biggest attack ever, but I think that if anyone's playing Kangaskhan X, they're most likely going to be playing it for Mega Kangaskhan, which, oddly enough, is our next card. Mega Kangaskhan X evolves from Kangaskhan. Once again, still colourless, has 230 hit points, still has a retreat cost of 3, is weak to fighting. It has the Mega Evolution clause, and it also has 1 attack. That attack is, for 3 colours, you can use Gangan Punch, which does 100 damage, and then you flip coins until you hit tails. For every head you hit, do an extra 30 damage. Now, already I think this is a marked improvement on Kangaskhan X. Mostly just for the whole fact that it's 3 for 100. For 100 damage, you're pretty much already guaranteed to be two-shotting most X's. You do have that additional chance to actually get in that extra little 30. So, if you hit 1 heads every other turn, you're going to be doing 230 damage, and that's most Megas taken care of. With all that though, the biggest thing I can actually say about Mega Kangaskhan X is actually its attack cost. The attack cost is 3 colourless energy, and right there I think that actually is what makes this card. I'm looking at it and it's like, it's 3 colourless energy. It's the best attack cost we've seen on a Mega yet. Blastoise requires 4, Venusaur 4, both Charizards require 5, and all 4 of them require a certain colour. Kangaskhan, 3 colours. It's probably the best Mega we've got so far. I'm not saying it's game changing, I'm not saying that it's the best card ever, but it is probably the best Mega we've seen yet. Just for the fact that its attack is a lot more accessible. Of course, he does have his drawbacks. There is the whole fact that when you look at it, it's got that fighting weakness, and very big basics is strongly becoming a thing right now. A lot of people are using the Aromatisse engine combined with Rainbow Energy and Prism Energy to play a new variant of big basics, to actually turn around and say, oh, well, you know, we can run Genesect, we can have Ferrisium for making things immune, we can have all of the basics, we can have Lugia for taking free prizes. The big problem that Mega Kangaskhan faces is the fact that they can turn around and say, here's Landorus X. Now, Landorus X in that deck takes about 3 turns to set up. Mega Kangaskhan takes 3 turns to set up. If you're racing your opponent to set up first, well, firstly you're on a coin toss on who goes first. They go first, they have that first turn initiative, and they can set up before you. You go first, you can get one going, but you're two-shotting them. They can easily set up in such a way that when they get one Landorus set up, they can effectively steamroll you for the rest of the game. All it has to do is basically 30 to the active, 30 to the bench, 30 to the active, 30 to the bench, and all of a sudden it starts setting up KOs. It never needs to discard its energy with its second attack because, well, those 30s are setting it up for one-shots because you're weak to Landorus. And I can see that being a huge obstacle for Mega Kangaskhan. Unless something steps forward to say that Fairy Basics doesn't work, which I highly doubt, because Big Basics has always been pretty viable. It's never really depended on powers, and having the ability to manipulate energy on board and go for a given attacker at a given time, it makes it just too powerful, in my opinion. So Mega Kangaskhan is going to have to come against that. Against other decks, it could probably stand a chance, it could push against them. So if you don't mind having that one really bad matchup, you could probably actually see some luck and some success with this. I'm not going to say it's definitely tier 1, but with a card like Mega Kangaskhan, I could see tier 2 actually becoming a thing in format again. And I'm all for seeing tier 2 become playable again. I personally live in tier 2, and you know, that's mostly because of the constraints of my wallet, but if I can see success with tier 2, if I can say, here's a deck that people don't rate, I can actually win a couple of games with it, might be able to top every now and then with it, then yeah, I'm gonna play tier 2. I'm gonna actually show that the tier listing doesn't really matter that much if you can actually have a decent tier 2 deck. But I'm not talking about tier 2 because that's a totally different discussion. Let's actually move on to our third and final for this episode Pokemon that's been revealed from the Wild Blaze commercial. The last Pokemon I want to look at is Pyro. Now we don't have all the information for this card right now. We know it's a stage 1, obviously, because it's Pyro. Fire type, 110 hit points, a retreat cost of 2, 2 times weakness, 2 water. We also have Pyro's ability, which is Intimidating Mane. This Pokemon takes no damage from the attacks of your opponent's basic Pokemon. Now, I can see exactly why the Pokemon Company's made this ability the way it has. It's basically a reworked Safeguard. The Pokemon Company is trying to push for this whole, we don't want you playing the old X's anymore, we want you playing Megas, because that's what we're trying to sell right now. Now, they can't turn around and say, well, here's Pyro, it has Safeguard, because all of the Megas are X's. So, Safeguard, yeah, it stops all the old X's, it also stops Megas. So they turned around and said, okay, here's Pyro, we'll give it the old Mewtwo level X thing, we'll make it so that it actually turns around and says, basics can't do any damage to it. Because it's saying basics, it'll stop standard basics, it stops your X's. Now, the biggest problem I can see with this is a lot of X-driven decks are running evolved support. If you put this up in front of Keldeo Blastoise, they're just going to retreat Keldeo and they're going to show you Blastoise. Blastoise can attack. Blastoise is effectively a weaker Keldeo, but you load up Blastoise, it's doing 110 without weakness, so Pyro will fall to Blastoise. If you go against Genesect Virizion, oh well, there's no evolutions there, they have G-Booster. G-Booster is pretty much staple in Genesect decks. So that kind of falls to pieces. Plasma? Okay, finally, this card actually has a place against Plasma. Everything is basic. Normally they had a way around Safeguarders because their key attacker was actually the Plasma Chiron, which wasn't an X. But now Pyro turns around and says, oh well, Plasma cries when it sees me. Joy, one deck so far. Okay, how about Darkrai? They don't attack with anything other than Darkrai, or maybe Sableye, they get really desperate for it. So, how do we deal with that? Oh, well, Darkrai has two different partners. If you're against a slower Darkrai build, then it's Darkrai Hydreigon. They have Hydreigon. They have Spyleos that goes under Hydreigon, so they don't actually have to risk putting Hydreigon on the active spot. If you're not against Darkrai Hydreigon, then it's most likely Darkrai Garbodor. And your opponent puts a Garbodor down, you don't have your ability, do you? So Pyro doesn't do anything against that. Now, I'm not saying the ability is awful. What I'm saying is the ability doesn't actually do the job it's made to do. It won't stop people running last formats X's, because all of last formats X's tend to have an out unless you're playing Plasma. And that's the thing with Pyro. It's effectively the polar opposite of Mega Kangaskhan. Where I turned around and said, Mega Kangaskhan, it doesn't have any obvious bad matchup except for maybe Fairy Basics. Pyro is the exact opposite. Every matchup for Pyro is bad unless you're against Plasma. And then you just walk home with it. And this is without mentioning Pyro's attack, which we know the cost for, and that's it. We don't know its name, we don't know what damage it does. We know it has an ability that turns around and says discard something for some kind of effect. We don't know what you discard, we don't know what the effect is. So, who knows? Pyro, with its intimidating main, the attack might actually turn around and say, I don't know, discard a fire energy and you can't take effects from basics, or you buffer damage or something, or there's no weakness. I still don't think, even if it has decent damage outputs and the effect is something that tries to cover it, I don't think Pyro is what the Pokemon Company wanted to be. And it's a terrible shame really, because, well, it tries. It is really trying. But everything it's meant to counter has an out to it without even trying, so I don't see Pyro breaking the scene. But that's just my opinion on it. What do you guys think about Kangaskhan, Mega Kangaskhan, and the intimidating main Pyro? As always, feel free to let me know down below. I look forward to actually reading your comments. And until next time, I've been Joey. You guys are top percent. Peace out.